You know that gut punch feeling when the world tilts, and your chest forgets how to breathe? That hit me the moment I saw the paddock gates swinging wide, hoof prints smeared in the mud like a crime scene, and thunder growling in the distance as if the sky itself was screaming a warning. My 3 rescue horses, Duke, Star, and Milo, were gone. The paddock was empty, the storm howling like it knew the chaos that had just unfolded. For a split second, I thought they'd broken free. Horses are clever, and storms spook them. But then I saw the tire tracks cutting through the mud, leading away from the gate. Someone had taken them. And not just anyone, Lisa. The neighborhood's walking headache. The woman who once reported a squirrel for trespassing on her porch. The same Lisa who'd been lurking near my barn that morning, her eyes glinting with a mission only she understood. She'd waited for the storm's worst to strike, probably thinking I'd be too distracted to notice. But I always notice. These horses aren't just animals. They're federally registered rescues under USDA protection, microchipped, documented, and watched more closely than most senators. Duke was a circus horse, worked until his legs nearly gave out. Star came from an illegal betting ring, her spirit half broken. Milo, born blind in one eye, still shudders if you move too fast. They're survivors, and I run a private sanctuary to keep them safe. Yet somehow, Lisa, with her Instagram obsession and 0 credentials, had just committed a felony. That morning had started like any other. The 5 a.m. wake-up call from Duke's impatient neigh, the smell of alfalfa and damp earth, the soft thump of hooves against stall floors. I'd been cleaning Milo's stall when Lisa showed up around noon, her usual excuse ready. She claimed she was checking on the animals via Bess. Last week, it was their emotional health. Before that, she swore Duke's chewing was GIVYing her migraines. Today, she stood by the fence, clutching a garish yellow umbrella, her yappy dog barking like a broken alarm. You know, she said, tossing her hair, they'd be happier free. Like truly free, not caged like zoo exhibits. I ignored her, as always, but made the mistake of turning my back to grab a pitchfork. That's when I noticed her staring at a trailer parked just beyond the ridge. I figured it was a neighbor's, nothing more. I never thought she'd be saw unhinged. But now, standing in the rain, mud soaking my boots, the empty stalls glaring back like a betrayal, I realized I'd underestimated Lisa's madness. I sprinted to the house, nearly slipping, and ripped the tablet from its mount to check the security footage. There she was, 3:46 p.m., wearing a fake animal safety officer vest, pure fiction, coaxing Duke up a rickety trailer ramp. Star followed, hesitant, and poor Milo was yanked by a rope around his halter. Lisa even waved at the camera, like this was a friendly prank, before driving off like she was headed to a petting zoo. I couldn't believe it. She'd stolen federally protected animals and filmed it like she was saving the world. I called 911, my hand shaking. The dispatcher's voice sharpened when I mentioned federally registered. You're saying USDA protected? She asked. I confirmed, and she put me on hold. When she returned, her tone was all business. Expect a call from the USDA Animal Welfare DVY shown in 5 minutes. Stay put. Sure enough, Inspector Torres called, his voice flat, like someone who'd seen too much nonsense. When I explained, he paused, then said words that froze me. If she crosses state lines, it's a federal transport violation under the Equine Rescue Act. That's prison time. I sent him the footage, the trailer's license plate, and the direction she'd gone, thanks to a neighbor's blurry dash-cam photo showing her heading west. The storm was roaring now, but I wasn't waiting. I grabbed my gear, yanked on my boots, and loaded my own trailer with the horses' medical records, USDA tags, and a notarized letter proving their protected status. This wasn't about backyard pets Lisa could liberate for likes. As I peeled out of the driveway, I called a friend in the sheriff's department. He patched me into the regional BOLO system. Within 15 minutes, the county was buzzing about the Lisa horse theft. 2 cruisers passed me, their drivers giving me a grim nod. Rain pounded the windshield, visibility fading, but my eyes were glued to the GPS ping from the dashcam footage. This wasn't just theft. It was about trust. These horses had been starved, beaten, abandoned, and finally found peace. Now some self-righteous busybody with a fake vest had ripped them back into chaos. Lightning cracked as I gripped the wheel, my knuckles white. I didn't know where Lisa was headed, but I'd find her. And when I did, she'd face more than face a federal storm. The GPS led me west, toward the scruffy outskirts of town where the land turns to weeds and forgotten lots. Lisa didn't have the means to go far. Her sedan couldn't tow a lawnmower, let alone a trailer. She'd borrowed that rusted heap from someone as clueless as her. I pictured her driving, her fake vest flapping, convincing herself she was on a holy quest while my horses trembled in the back. It made my blood boil. 30 minutes later, I spotted a crooked mailbox with peeling letters spelling Johnson. It was the old Peterson farm, now owned by Lisa's cousin. The fence was a joke chicken wire stapled to rotting posts. And there, in a flooded yard, was the trailer. My horses were still inside. I slammed the brakes, tires screeching, and parked across the street. Anger surged, but I forced myself to breathe. I needed proof, backup, and calm. I called Torres, who answered instantly. "I've got eyes on the trailer," I said. "Possibly the horses." He told me to stay put. A USDA agent and 2 deputies were en route. "Don't approach," he warned. "We'll do this by the book." I called my neighbor, Sarah, who lived nearby and had a knack for discreet recording. 10 minutes later, she pulled up, phone ready, filming everything. The gate creaked, and there was Lisa, soaked in a rain poncho over her fake vest, hair plastered to her face. She unlatched the trailer with a flourish, like she was unveiling a masterpiece. Star stumbled out, slipping in the mud. Lisa tugged her like a stubborn puppy. Duke followed, his eyes dull. Milo came last, limping, his bandage soaked and dangling. My fists clenched as Lisa led them to a pathetic paddock, a circle of broken plastic fencing around a muddy patch. She tied them to a rusty swing set. A swing set saw. Milo nearly collapsed as she patted him, shouting, "You're free now, sweet boy. Breathe!" Sarah gasped as Star nibbled a moldy pizza box in the grass. Lisa, oblivious, was live streaming again, her voice booming. "These animals are liberated from captive VY, she declared to her handful of VYUers. They were overfed, locked up, emotionally stifled. I've brought them to peace." Sarah zoomed in as Lisa spun in the rain, unaware that 2 sheriff cruisers were pulling up behind her. "Lisa Harmon!" an officer barked. "Step away from the animals." Lisa froze, then puffed up like a peacock. "You have no authority here. This is a sovereign sanctuary." That's when a black SUV rolled in. Inspector Torres stepped out, his USDA badge gleaming under his raincoat. Lisa tried to argue. "These horses are spiritual beings, not property. I'm their guardian." Torres didn't blink. He held up a clipboard with USDA records, photos of my horses, and their federal status. "Their removal is theft of federal property and endangerment," he said. "Comply or you'll be removed." Lisa's jaw dropped. She glanced at the horses, her live stream, the neighbors filming from the road. "I'm being persecuted!" she shrieked. When a deputy moved to untie Star, Lisa lunged. That was her mistake. Another deputy cuffed her with practiced ease as she ranted about conspiracies and horse sovereignty. Her stream caught it all, including her tripping into the mud as they led her to the cruiser. Torres let me inspect the horses under his watch. My stomach churned. Milo's stitches were torn. Star's hooves were cracked from standing in water. Duke had a gash from the swing set's chains. I photographed everything, called the mobile vet, and Sarah kept recording. Torres was already on the phone, ensuring charges would stick. As they loaded Lisa into the cruiser, she yelled, "You're part of the meat machine!" The deputy slammed the door. The cruiser's lights faded into the mist. My horses were filthy, scared, hurt but alive. I'd fix this. Lisa, though, had no idea the trouble she'd unleashed. Federal charges were just the start. This would be a courtroom spectacle watched by every rescue group in the country. She wanted fame. She was about to get it for all the wrong reasons. The next morning, my phone was a war zone. 200 texts, 30 missed calls, messages from rescue owners, reporters, even a late-night show producer wanting me on TV. I ignored it all. Duke, Star, and Milo were my focus. The vets stayed through the night, cleaning wounds, rebandaging stitches, checking for trauma. Duke was quiet, not his usual nuzzling self. Milo flinched at every sound. Star stood rigid, ears twitching, braced for danger. It broke me, but I shoved the pain down. There was work to do. News of Lisa's arrest spread like wildfire. Her live stream clip shouting about being a rescuer and face-planting in the mud hit millions of VYUs. Memes exploded. Lisa photoshopped as a knight on a stick horse, captioned, "Hoof Liberator." Another plastered her mugshot with, "Wanted crimes against Hay." Reddit's r/entitled people thread blew up, and rescue centers shared stories of Lisa's causing harm with untrained meddling. My story became a rallying cry against reckless active VYSM. The USDA held a press conference outside the courthouse. Torres, stiff as ever, laid out Lisa's charges: felony theft, animal endangerment, impersonating a federal officer, obstruction, trespassing. He showed photos of the horses' injuries, the swing set, Lisa's live stream declaring she'd saved them from horse prison. Reporters chuckled. One wrote that Lisa set back rescue work a decade in a day. Her social media imploded her. Hooves of Hope page drowned in angry comments. She was banned from every animal rights group. Leaked posts showed her bragging about rescuing pond turtles and reporting a neighbor's dog for manipulation. The internet crowned her a lawsuit in yoga pants. Then came Lisa's lawyer, Victor Reese, a publicity-hungry hack who claimed Lisa was a whistleblower under a non-existent animal guardian doctrine. He sued me, saying I was unfit to care for horses, and even targeted Torres for federal intimidation. It was nonsense, but headlines ate it up. Horse thief sues victim, government. Lisa's own live stream yelling at Milo for not embracing freedom tanked her case. Still, I knew court would need facts, not memes. I gathered vet reports, USDA files, and expert witnesses, hoping it'd be enough. The trial was a circus. Lisa arrived in a pink van with a "Animal Truth Warrior" sign, wearing a velvet cape with horse patches. She played the martyr for the cameras, shouting about four-legged freedom. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, shut down her theatrics fast. "This is a federal case, not a stage," she snapped. The prosecution showed the footage, Lisa in her fake vest, tugging Milo, while VYing at the camera. Then the aftermath: horses tied to a zip-tied swing set, injuries glaring. The vet's report confirmed dehydration, infections, distress. The judge stared at Lisa like she was a walking disaster when she heard about the swing set. Lisa's testimony was a train wreck. She claimed horses needed emotional resonance, not vets, and called me a hoarder of horse souls. She played a voice memo of her whispering to Milo, insisting it was therapeutic. The judge cut her off, threatening contempt. Reese tried to pivot, but Lisa rambled about her cape symbolizing shelter from oppression. The gallery snickered, and the bailiff issued warnings. I kept my testimony simple. The horses were federally protected, under strict care plans. Lisa had no training, no right to interfere. I described Milo's near infection, Star's hunger strike, Duke's fear. She didn't rescue them, I said, locking eyes with the judge. She hurt them. Torres sealed it with USDA records, Lisa's fake vest, her boastful posts, and a history of complaints like the time she freed a tortoise into a storm drain. The defense leaned on Lisa's good intentions, but the judge wasn't buying it. Intent doesn't excuse harm, she said. After a brief deliberation, she delivered the verdict, guilty on all charges. Lisa got 18 months of supervised community service at a licensed equine center, a ban on animal interaction without federal review, hefty fines, a psychological evaluation, and mandatory welfare training. She tried to protest, yelling about cosmic energies, but the gavel silenced her. Reporters swarmed as we left. I slipped out, wanting only to get home. Passing Lisa, her cape soggy, her eyes furious, I said nothing. The clouds parted, sunlight breaking through. I thought of my horses, waiting. Lisa thought she was their savy but now the world knew the truth. Weeks later, life calmed, though it'd never be the same. Milo let me touch his leg again. Star nuzzled my chest. Duke trotted cautiously. They were healing, but the scars lingered. Donations poured in enough for new security, a state-of-the-art rehab enclosure. Volunteers, vets, therapists stepped up. Lisa's chaos had sparked something stronger. Meanwhile, Lisa shoveled manure at Whispering Pines Equine Center, her cape gone, her phone locked away. She resisted at first, insisting horses needed crystals, not hay. But the work humbled hearer at least shut her up. Her old followers mocked her. Her lawsuit was tossed. Her name became a warning in rescue circles. Even her HOA, led by a grumpy guy named Carl, apologized for ignoring her chaos, a miracle in itself. Torres called one day. Lisa's prior stunts releasing rabbits, meddling with wildlife had triggered a federal review. She'd be barred from government-certified animal facilities for good. I wasn't thrilled, just tired. The fight had drained me, but it clarified something. I'd protected my horses, and their story was changing laws. Lisa's name now lived in legal briefings, a cautionary tale. Months later, I spoke at an equine conference, not as an expert, but a witness. I told them about Milo's limp, Star's fear, Duke's silence. About Lisa's swing set. Sanctuary. About the law stepping up. They stood clapping not for me, but for the horses. Back home, spring warmed the barn. I leaned against the fence, watching them graze. Milo nudged me, grunting softly. We were scarred but safe. Lisa was unmasked, her story a warning. The pasture glowed, and no storm, no lie, no wannabe savy or would ever take that from us again.